Let's talk about some quarterbacks at the D3 football level you absolutely need to know about heading into 2025. These are guys that obviously fill up the stat books, but also have the traits and the teams behind them to go and make a run, and that teams that you probably should tune into on any given Saturday to see these guys and, of course, their talented teammates go and perform. Jimmy, start us off with a little bit of a WIAC flair, my friend.
So I've seen this kid play up front and center. I've seen this kid's an absolute dog. Kaleb, Blaha, quarterback, River Falls. Missed most of last season with a hamstring injury. Very much changed the trajectory of River Falls season, although they had some talented quarterbacks that stepped in there and did a really good job. This kid already has the school record for yards accounted for, and he has a year left.
Yeah.
Is that good?
I think that's got to be up there. Yeah, that's got to be pretty decent.
Yeah, he's going to separate himself in those record books in a big way this year. I mean, I have all the respect in the world for this kid's game. He is certainly a Gagliardi candidate early on here. A true dual threat quarterback, elite scramble drill abilities. He's great on third down, great in the red zone, and he is just a problem to tackle. He could run through you, he could juke you. Like, this kid is a dog, straight up. He's a dog.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
Tough as nails, too. You talk about he's the last guy you would have expected to leave with injury, a dude that totes the rock a lot for that River Falls offense. And when we're down there at River Falls talking with Coach Walker and company down there, they really felt and believed they had a team to contend for a national championship in 2024, especially when Blaha was under center for this squad. They have a ton of confidence in their other playmakers on both sides of the ball in all three phases. That's, obviously. But when this guy's under center, this is a different team. So when you say it changed the trajectory of this program, when he is back under center, this is very much a team that can contend to win the conference and go and win the national championship. That's how they felt. That's how strongly they felt about this guy and this team last year. Can they keep that going into 2025? That's the question, and especially in front of a conference that is the toughest at this level and that cannibalizes itself on a very, very regular basis, as you have come to find out, Jimmy. But as we go down the list, talking about another guy that certainly you need to keep an eye on heading into 2025, let's go to Bethel. Let's talk about Cooper Drews. He's got the single-season passing touchdown record holder already for the Royals. This is a guy that filled up the stat book inside of 2024, almost 4,000 yards, 43 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. Pretty good ratio right there. 74% completion percentage on the year, crunching some of the numbers there. He's got a ton of different records already inside of Bethel, and I think a good stat to kind of encompass him, he's the 7th highest passing leader out of all divisions of football coming back this season. That's D1, D2, D3, and NAIA. He is top 10 in the country for returning production heading into this season. Now, that should illustrate the level at which he's been able to perform in the last couple of years. And something about him that is, I think, kind of a fun deal as well, Jimmy. He's got his own podcast. They call it the Ball Knowledge Podcast. That's got to be one of the cooler things that I uncovered about Cooper when doing a little bit of research. The Ball Knowledge Podcast with Cooper Drews. Definitely shout out to him. Definitely go tune in and check out the pod. But this is a guy that's been able to do it on and off the field. You look at the accolades he's been able to accomplish with a very, very talented Bethel squad around him. I will add, you look at what the defense was able to do last year. They got more pressure on the quarterback than anyone in Division III football. You look down this list of accolades right here. Nationally, top 10 ranked in 6 different categories. Top 5, rather. Excuse me. He is amongst the best of the best at his position at any level in college football right now, and is a guy that, he's 6'5", 215 pounds. Certainly not a frame or a scale that you associate with the prototypical Division III quarterback. This is a guy that demands a lot of attention from a defensive coordinator standpoint, a calm pocket presence, not a guy to rush a throw or make the same mistake twice. A lot of exciting things coming for Cooper Drews in 2025, my friend.
Yeah, certainly. And another kid who has a lot of exciting things ahead of him is Adam Moen, quarterback of University of Wisconsin-Stout. aka UC Wisconsin Trout, as we saw earlier this morning.
That was an all-time blunder. That was bad.
Shout out to Pat Corcoran, by the way. He's got an agent, so shout out to Pat. But anyway, Adam Moen, I'm going to take a lot of heat for this because I went to Stout. Bias this, bias that. I want you to turn on the film and watch Adam Moen play football before you call me biased for this. Started all 11 games last year, team captain, led the WAC in passing yards per game. Stout was a perfect 27 for 27 in the red zone last season, Kobe.
Wow.
27 for 27 in the red zone, whether that's field goals, touchdowns, whatever it is. And that doesn't happen without an elite quarterback. And Adam Moen certainly falls under the category of elite quarterback, being that he was also the first 3,000 passer at Stout since 1998 last season. And he ran for 542 yards last year, too. So he's a dual threat quarterback. And also shout out to the All-American kicker, Luke Cool. Helping us with that red zone percentage as well. Shout out to Coolio on that one.
100%. You talked about it, man. 3,000 passing yards. You would imagine a guy like that with that number of accolades and fills a stat book like that. What did he do the year prior? Right? You think that maybe he started to get his feet wet and was, kind of a 1,000 or 2,000 yard passer. Last year, he had, not last year, I should say 2 years ago, in 2023, only 13 pass attempts for him. That jump from playing and competing in 9 games, sure, but going from 13 pass attempts to 360 plus a year later, and not just airmailing this thing. We're talking about a very, very surgically accurate quarterback. Over 3,000 yards, 25 touchdowns to only 4 interceptions throughout the entire course of the season. That jump from year to year is unparalleled. There's no one in the country that makes a jump like that outside of, I'm assuming, Moen. This is a guy that is certainly set himself apart. Now what's even scarier, what does he do now? What does he do? How does he make that jump from 24 to 25 and become even better? If that was the jump from almost no production to mass volume, what does he look like now with a full season of starting under his belt, dude?
There is no ceiling for Adam Moen. There's no ceiling. That's all I really have to say about this kid. I mean, 2 years ago, he was like our Taysom Hill or whatever. He'd line up in he'd be like a running back, receiver, like whatever it was. You just had to get the kid the ball. I mean, because we had Mitch Wechter, total stud quarterback, and it was going to be hard for Moen to take snaps when we had this kid under center. But I mean, you just got to get the ball in his hands, and good things are going to happen. That's all it really is.
100%, man. That's a guy, and you look at already a couple guys out of the WIAC, and we're talking about them for good reason, right? This isn't just because we like the conference. These are guys that are going to contend at the national level as some of the best in the business, but a guy will get out of that conference in Wisconsin. Let's talk about Josh Ehrlich, the guy from Susquehanna who's been under center for them. Nicknamed JT, this is a guy that a lot of people have been introduced to, whether they like it or not on the national level, because of the things he's been able to do with the Riverhawks. You talk about their success recently, making it to the semifinals last year. He leads a thrilling NCAA playoff tournament run, the comeback win over Hobart, the clinching victory against St. John's, a 4th and goal, quarterback keeper, comes up clutch in all of these big-time moments, scores again in the Elite Eight, sends Riverhawks to their first Final Four since 1991. This has been the catalyst for the Riverhawk offense. And another team, we talk about the squads like Cortland, like Grove City, these quote-unquote feel-good stories that have turned that narrative into something more. Susquehanna very much in the mix right there, very much in part due to this guy under center. He's taken this quote-unquote feel-good story and turned them into a national contender. Now, he hasn't done that single-handedly. He's got a great supporting cast around him, but the impact that he makes in between those white lines and the way he's able to thread dots like that down the sideline. Look at the poise and the calm, the ability to scramble as the play develops. He's getting down the field. He's going to do it with his own 2 legs. He is not shy about it, Jimmy. This is a guy that is as competitive as they come. The son of Maryland's former governor. Downtime says he's equally competitive in video games and spike ball. Way too into spike ball even, Jimmy. But this is a guy that has been very fun to watch, and as someone who was admittedly not hip to this Susquehanna team even just 1 or 2 years ago, he has put me and the rest of the country on notice.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not notice the kid? Like you said, it's just like you have no option other than to notice him.
Correct. He forces you to turn the TV on and watch this guy play because they refuse to lose, and a big part of it because of him.
Yeah, certainly. And then another kid that's kind of like that. I mean, you could say a lot about what he does on the field, but his philanthropic efforts off the field. Carter St. John, quarterback for Alma. The founder of Quarterbacks versus Cancer, friend of the pod, and he is a perfect example of why height is overrated. He only stands at about 5'10", but he does complete 65% of his passes with 31 touchdowns last year, also with over 400 yards rushing on the ground last year and 5 touchdowns. He's got a couple more stats for you here. He's already the school passing touchdowns leader. He's second in yards, and he's second in passes completed. So that leads me to believe he's going to break all of the records this season, with another season to go, obviously. So
absolutely, yes. Everything, all the records are shaking right now because they know that they're not going to last, right? And of course, any excuse I get to pull this bad boy
baby.
Out. This beautiful lid.
Give me the bagpipes.
Any excuse.
Give me the bagpipes. Give me the kilts. Give me the little hat. Everything. I want everything. I'm going to turn into a Scot for game day. Like, I will be indistinguishable from someone from Scotland. You won't be able to tell the difference. I'll have the long socks. I'll have the tap dancing shoes, the whole get up, the whole 9 yards, Kobe. Everything. I am so locked in for this, dude. The helmet stays on.
We definitely need to get on site for an Alma game this fall. That certainly will be in the works. It's one of the teams we love covering. But Carter St. John, like you talked about, again, a feel-good story of a guy who has done these things off the field. It's one thing if you just do these things off the field. I don't want to say just to downplay any of it. It's one thing if you do these things off the field and are a great person and a great human. It's another if you can take that and combine being an absolute dog and competitor in between the white lines. You talked about it. A guy who, hard over height, this is the prototypical D3 quarterback, a guy who has balled out at every level of football he's been at. He's taken that winning to the next level at Alma, playing some tough competition inside of the MIAA, but it's translated into the playoffs. You look at the runs these Alma teams have made. The Mount Union win, of course, stands out in the national tournament. This is a guy that is so used to overcoming every set of odds or obstacles in front of him set by whether it's media pundits like us or people on the outside from other teams. He does not care for your opinion. He goes out, he performs under a guy like Coach Couch. That's all you can really ask for at your quarterback spot, man.
Yeah. My dad talks about this a lot. He's a foxhole guy. He's a guy you want to go to war with. He's your typical, he's your foxhole guy. Chris St. John is a foxhole guy.
I love that, dude. Yep. Let's keep this thing going. Closing it out on our topic for 2025 quarterbacks to watch at the Division III level. Let's go over to Center College, Jimmy. Jack Gohmann from Center College stepping up in the big games, I think, is something you need to know about this guy. What jumps off the page right away, some of the statistics from last year for a guy that, once again, I might have not been hip to this guy and this team. When you look at him just on the roster, 6'4", 195 pounds. This is not typically a frame that ends up at the Division III level. Someone who commands the pocket presence and those type of deal. The statistics from a year ago, they speak for themselves. Another 3,000 plus yardage passer. He led the conference in passing offense a year ago. And look at the ratio, 30 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. Maybe not quite as surgical as some of the other guys that we talk about on this list, but volume, my friend, volume. 428 passing attempts a year ago. This is a guy they heavily rely on, that Center College offense. And what really stuck out to me about Jack was that he stepped up in the big games. And I go back to their playoff game just a year ago. They go down to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and this game, Jimmy, was 25 degrees in November last year. From a quarterback perspective, playing in a 25-degree football game, Fahrenheit, for all you non-Americans. I don't know why you'd be listening, but...
Hey, yeah, whoa. We welcome all listeners.
Okay. A 25-degree playoff game, Jimmy, how easy would it be to say, it's 25 degrees, let's just hand the rock off and hope, and then we'll try and trick them with a pass here or there, right? For an offensive coordinator to trust your guy in frigid, below freezing temperatures to be able to go out there and deal the rock, he absolutely went out there and did that. The first drive, he completes 4 straight passes, but then an interception keep Center College from scoring. That could shake a quarterback's confidence, especially in the playoffs on a big stage that can rattle you for the rest of the contest. Not what happened with Jack. This is, to me, the biggest thing that stands out. He doesn't let that shake him. He goes on to finish 38 of 63 with 402 yards and a touchdown. 63 passing attempts. And the game was 25 degrees. He had to be Teddy Two-Gloving it out there. I mean, how else could you even accomplish that?
I don't know. I mean, maybe he's doing like some Wim Hof like breathing techniques, and he's like getting ready for the cold. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like in his room, he's like he's getting his central nervous system regulated to balance the cold and the heat. Like this guy he's doing the things necessary off the field. I think
whatever his training regiment is, we need it, because you talk about that volume, 63 passing attempts when your game and your season is on the line in a temperature that does not warrant that type of offense, the offensive MVP, as you can see it there. And another thing that's very encouraging about Jack, when you go back through and you look at the strides that he's made every season. In 2022, he played in only 3 games. He had 12 pass attempts for 76 yards. Not much to say for it. In 2023, coming in as kind of the true guy under center, 10 games played, 260 passing attempts, 1,800 yards, 16 touchdowns. Now we're talking about some real volume. We're talking about some statistics that are going to put you on the upper levels of your respective conference. Then you make that jump to last year. I talked about it, over 3,000 yards. Again, when you talk about a guy that has made those strides year in and year out, it's dangerous and it's scary for opponents to think, what the hell is he going to do this fall? With all that experience under his belt, with some weapons coming back at center, what can he accomplish? What can this team accomplish, inside of and outside of the conference with a guy like this under center? I think that's a pretty good way of closing out the conversation, my friend.
Yep.
And a couple of guys I should also mention, there were a couple guys on this list that would have probably been on this list that are departing from D3 football, and I do think it's still worth shouting these guys out because of the season that they've had in the past. One of them being the quarterback, Destin Chance, the man who is from Illinois College, lit up the scene there with the Blue Boys. He's going over to NAIA Bethel University, where his brother is actually going to be doing the play calling over there, Drew Chance. That is an incredible dynamic, an incredible duo that we will absolutely be watching moving forward. And then another one that comes to mind right away, a guy who we've had the pleasure of having on the program not too recently, Ryan Blair, the quarterback from Whitworth, is going up, making the move to Division II, University of Mary inside of the Northern Sun Athletic Conference as a grad transfer, had 37 touchdowns and led the Pirates to the playoffs just a year ago, I do believe. So that's a couple of guys that probably would have been on this list otherwise, Jim.
Yeah, certainly. Then there's a couple WIAC quarterbacks that I would have put on there, but I don't want to have too much WIAC bias. So,
Yeah. Hey, with that being said, too, like there are a ton of other quarterbacks that could absolutely be included in this list. We just didn't have all night to talk about these guys. I wish we did. And this certainly doesn't mean that this will be the last time we talk about this stuff, right? This is just trying to give you some big-time names. And for people who maybe are more casual fans of the sport, these are some names they can maybe latch onto and gives them a reason to tune into football on Saturdays in the fall. So that's all we're kind of trying to accomplish.
And these were all in no order, by the way. These weren't like ranked 1 through 6. This was not like, the first guy we talked about is the best quarterback. No. It was not a list. It was not like a ranking. We were just talking about certain guys.
Thank you for the disclaimer. That asterisk was much needed.
Because Adam Moen would not have been the third person I talked about. If that was the case.
That's awesome. That was great, Jimmy. That was a lot of fun, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Kaleb.